I have a fully functional UN55F9000 Samsung 4K TV, but it wasn't always that way. So let's show you how to troubleshoot and fix a HDMI fault. I'm going to plug in the Fire Stick into the HDMI port number 1, which the TV is currently selected on, and we are not getting any cable connected signal. So this is the case for all 4 of the HDMI ports. So let's open up the One Connect box and do some further troubleshooting. After removing the circuit board out of the box, we can tell that all 4 of the HDMI ports are going to this HDMI processor, which is manufactured by Silicon Image. One of them is, however, going to this chip first. So we're going to take a closer look at the HDMI processor since none of the HDMI ports work and see if we can detect a short, which I believe we will. This is the backside of the HDMI processor chip, and there are a few capacitors here that we're going to do resistance checks on. So in ohms, we're looking at 0.2 ohms, which that's very low, indicating a short. We'll do a couple more checks. This one is 2.3, 3.7. Okay, let's check this one over here. 2.3, 3.1, 3.7, 3.8. Okay, that indicates that that chip has a short and we'll need to replace it. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll do another check of resistance once that's done. In order to properly remove this chip, we're going to have to use our hot air. But before I do that, I'm going to add a little flux around the pins. And I have been preheating it with some bottom heat because it does have a large ground pad. And sometimes these chips, when they short out, kind of more or less fuse to the ground pad somehow. And it becomes very difficult to remove them. Okay, whoop, drop that chip. All right, and while the board is hot, I'm gonna be removing all of the old solder. And I'm just gonna use desolder wick for that. So I just finished removing all of the old solder. We're going to want to clean up that excess flux. And in order to attach our new chip, we're going to be using solder paste. That is at least for the ground pad in the center. I've just lined up the chip best I can, so now we're going to go ahead and resolder it with, again, the hot air. And then, of course, for those of you that are curious, this is a HDMI 55F9000 as the part number for the chip. Now that the center ground pad is attached, we can go ahead and get started on soldering the pins. Again, I'm going to be putting a little bit of flux here. And I put a little too much solder, so we'll have to remove some here. And I'm going to use my pick tool to double check and make sure all of the pins are properly soldered in. Perfect. So if any of those pins were loose, we would have seen them move, and since none of them moved, that confirms they're soldered in correctly. Let's do the next side. Same thing. We'll use the pick again. Now the first two sides looked fairly well aligned. This third side for some reason looks slightly offset. I'm not sure why. Hopefully it won't affect our ability to solder it in properly. We'll have to use our desolder wick to remove some of that excess. Alright, let's see if everything was done correctly here. Alright, and it looks like that is the case. Let's do our last side. Perfect. All right, and again, all set. We'll do a little cleanup with some of the alcohol. Get rid of the extra flux on there. Oh, wait, I forgot. First, we have to do our resistance checks on the back of the board. We were getting about 0 to 2 or 3 ohms, but we have about 3, oh, it's changing, 8 kilo ohm, 15, and rising 23 kilo ohms. So the short is clearly gone. We have kilo ohms, which is thousands of ohms. Check this one, 152 ohms, much lower, but before I believe it was 3 ohms and 210. So our shorts are definitely gone. We can go ahead and live test it now. I've just plugged everything back into the TV, put the box back together, and I have our Fire Stick plugged in. We're gonna go ahead into HDMI 4, which is where we currently have it on, and it looks like it's turning on and we have a picture. So we'll let it boot in, and we'll also wanna confirm and make sure we have audio as well. And now that we're loaded in, I can move around and we can hear the audio working. So we have a proper repair. If you liked the video, if you found it helpful or useful, leave us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.